We had a customer just now that we had brought in a bunch of leads, and we were able to get those leads to schedule appointments, in-person appointments, so face-to-face appointments in the goldsmith shop. Now, the problem then became obviously closing them, like making the sale. Because remember, we are selling very expensive stuff, so it's not the easiest thing to make the sale. But this is what we train our goldsmiths to do. So we have a sales process, right? But the key part, or well, not the key part, but a very important part where is I would say is the most difficult part of the sale, right? Of the whole process. This is the most difficult part, is when they actually say either no or when they give objections, right? So this is you went through the sale framework, sales process. You've had the conversation, a long conversation with them, right? And then they go when you make the ask, when you basically present the offer, you price anchor them, you give them the upsell, and then you give them the bonuses. Sounds fair enough, right? And after you say that, whatever they say, if it's not yes, let's do this, no, I don't have time for this. It's too expensive. I need to talk to my husband, my wife, whatever of those they say. This is the framework you we train our goldsmiths to use. So it's called the 3A framework. It's not something that we invented in any way, but this is how we use it. So it is acknowledge what they said, associate what they said to something good, right? And then number three, ask another question. That's it. That's the sale. So if they say, I need time to think about it, right? It's a little bit expensive. I need time to think about it. So there you have two things. So it is really not, I need to think about it, is what do you need to think about, right? But instead of saying that, you say, you acknowledge that they said, okay, so you need to think about it. That is, then you associate that is actually something that our best client last week, last month, whenever your best client was, said to us, right? And this is what happened. The wedding, the beautiful wedding ring, the beautiful earrings, everyone complimented you. Anyway, whatever. You associate what they just said with that beautiful experience of your best client, and then you just ask them another question. Can I ask you, just out of curiosity, what is what you need to think about? What is impeding this here, right? So, what is blocking us to move forward? You just ask them another question. That's it. And remember, this is a conversation. So it is not supposed to be robotic. Like, I need to think about it. Okay, you need to think about it. Another customer of ours 2 weeks ago had the same problem that they needed to think about it. And no, this is a conversation. Like, so you need to think about it. Okay. Actually, that reminds me of right. It's a little more conversation. It has to be casual. Now you know the script. You know what you have to do. You have done this a million times, right? Five people walk into your shop every day. You have this conversation 5 times a day, right? 7 days a week. You know what they're going to say. You know what you're going to say. But it has to be in a conversational mood, because otherwise you break rapport, right? The last thing we want to do is break rapport, because it's very, very difficult to claw back from that. I have never been able to do that, in all honesty. So if, for example, you start being in odds, right, confrontational with each other, I have no idea how to break that. I have no framework for that. But to not have confrontation, there are many ways to do it. So number one is curiosity. Like, you tilt your head, right? Curiosity. And then number two is you do not disagree with them, right? So for example, they say, "Oh, that's very expensive for what I want," and then instead of saying, "Oh, that's not expensive at all. I don't think that's expensive." Why would you say that? Like, this is the most stupid thing to say ever, right? So don't disagree with them. Like, okay, so that's expensive, and then acknowledge what they said, associate what they just said is too expensive, right? with something positive, and then go back to ask the question, right? So that's the framework that we use whenever someone says anything but yes. We acknowledge what they said, which is, remember, acknowledge what they said is just repeating back to them exactly what they said in their exact words, right? Very simple. Don't think about it. Just repeat what they said back to them in their exact words. Associate that with something good. Yay. Yeah. And then ask them another question. Do it slowly. Breathe. Right. Don't get nervous. This is a sales conversation. They walked into you. They responded to an advertisement on Facebook. They answered a call. They spoke with you for 5 minutes to book a time. You texted them for them to come into your shop. They drove a car. They got in their car, drove to your shop, or got on the tunnelbana to go to your shop or whatever. Right? They made a trip to get into your shop. They walked into your shop. They have had a 15-minute sales conversation with you, 10-minute sales conversation with you. They want your stuff. It's just to help them get over the bridge. Obviously, it's expensive, right? What you're selling expenses, so help them get over the bridge. How do you help them get over the bridge? With a conversation. That's it. You can also add bonuses, but that's another part. This is just the conversational framework that we use. And yeah, so acknowledge, associate with something good, and then ask another question, right? It keeps you in the sale and it moves you forward, right? That's it. So I hope this was useful. If you want more free tactics, freebies, go to goldsmithsecrets.se and yeah, download an entire document of all our secrets and how we basically get leads, get them to schedule, and get them to pay, get them to buy very expensive stuff, and then get them to resell. We help you guys resell. So that's it. If you want more help with that, go to goldsmithsecrets.se. Hope this was useful. Vi ses, vi hörs. Bye.